The digital production buzz at NAB is sponsored by Maxon and by Simply, a global distribution brand.
Right now, we are talking with the folks at Creamsource, Insta360, Advantage Video Systems, and a news report from doddleNEWS. This is the digital production buzz at the 2019 NAB Show, and the show starts now.
Live from the 2019 NAB Show in Las Vegas. Technology, products, media, news. Connecting media professionals around the globe with the latest in technology. The NAB Show Buzz starts now.
And welcome back. This is the first day of the 2019 NAB Show. My name is Larry Jordan. We're wrapping up day one. We still have one more show to go and a great group of guests to cover the action and the new technology that's being announced here at NAB. We're starting with Tama Berkeljon. He is the CEO of Creamsource. Hello, Tama. Welcome.
Hi, Larry. Thank you.
So what does Creamsource do?
Creamsource is really a technology company focused specifically on lighting, and our focus is really at the center of film, and where that meets also with television and broadcast.
Now, when you say you're a technology company, what does that mean?
Well, I guess our approach is to try and break down the design problems that filmmakers have using sort of a technology-based approach.
Now, I hate to break it to you, but we've had lights in Hollywood like since the beginning of time. Why should somebody pay attention to Creamsource?
I think because of our unique blend of design mixed with technology, and our unique problems that we've faced have caused us to produce, I guess, unique solutions.
So I'm confused. Tell me what those are. Give me an example.
So, for example, we found that people were wanting to use LEDs in the very early days. So we've been building LEDs since 2003, since we did a show called Happy Feet with George Miller. Mm-hmm. And so we've been using LED technology to solve problems that traditional lighting couldn't.
Oh, so lack of heat would be one, and less power is another. But again, there's multiple LED companies. Why, again, Creamsource?
So like I said, we've started this since a very early stage of LED sort of business has been around. That's given us a sort of, I guess, a unique perspective on the application, how the technology is utilized. I think because we have, I guess, a design philosophy surrounding how we go about what we're doing. Also, the other thing, I guess, that makes our proposition very interesting is a really good dollars per watt ratio. So, we are, at a point where the general market is at around like $12 a watt on average, and our new product like the SpaceX is around $5.43 a watt for, sort of large area lighting. So when you're getting into lighting big studios, this gets quite helpful because, you're not competing against your own pocket.
Well, NAB is all about new technology and new products. Have you got something new for us this year?
Yeah, so we're launching the SpaceX.
The SpaceX?
Yeah.
It's a rocket.
It looks a little bit like a rocket, yeah.
And what does it do?
It's a high-powered space light fixture, so it's essentially to replace the traditional tungsten space lights, which are used for lighting the large parts of studios. Yeah.
So where would this be put? It'd be flown from the ceiling, or would be?
That's right. Yeah. So hung from the ceiling off the grid.
And what are the characteristics of this new space lighting?
It's fairly lightweight. It's around 40 pounds or 18 kilos. It's all self-contained. It's got built-in power supplies, which actually makes up the X shape on the back, which is why the name, the SpaceX, came about. And it's a full RGB amber white system, so it's a very broad color palette, and has a great spectral ability.
Now, a lot of times we're assessed about how accurate the color is, and we start to look at the CRI index. Is that relevant in this light? And if so, what do your numbers look like?
Yeah, I think it is relevant. It's a good litmus, and it remains to be talked about, even though people call out the difficulties with CRI and the problems with CRI. But so yeah, it has a typical CRI of 95 to 97 through most of the CCT range. So
At one point, can we see a difference? But is it like one CRI if it's 94 to 95? Can we see, or is it 5 or 10?
No, it's generally pretty imperceptible above, as people are saying at the moment, like 90 to 93. It becomes kind of imperceptible, and our eyes would be fairly unable to pick up anything that's sort of like 3 or 4 points. We probably just wouldn't even notice.
So how much should we obsess about the CRI value? If one light's at 96 and one's at 98, or 96 and 94?
In my opinion, it makes very little difference at that stage. Yeah.
Can the cameras pick it up?
Very few could. More important would be the TLCI.
Which is what?
The television lighting consistency index.
Which is measuring what?
Well, it's similar to CRI, but it takes into account the camera spectral response. So it understands the light in the perception of the camera's point of view. So the mathematics are against a generalized camera model, sort of normalized camera model, if you will.
And if you think about it, the eye is much more forgiving than a camera is. So the TLCI is something that's going to show how the camera reacts to that light.
Yeah, it does a much better job of considering this.
And where do your lights fit on that spectrum?
Also, well, depends on which models, but yeah, some a little better than others. But yeah, typically in that 93 to 95, 97 range.
And perfection is 100?
Wow.
I mean, I'm not saying achievable. I'm just saying the maximum would be 100.
Maximum is 100, yeah.
And somewhere in the mid-90s is where your lights fit.
That's where we fit, yeah, mid-90s.
And so when would somebody decide to buy Creamsource? When should they consider your product versus the competition?
Well, if they want something that's robust, easy to work with, going to last a long time, and relatively cost effective for the wattage that you get, then think about us.
And do you have focusable lights, or are they all soft light?
Actually, so we with our panel systems, we operate on the principle of starting out with a hard light or a narrow beam source, and then lensing it back. So we have some simple sort of accessories that you can drop in and make them soft if you want to be that way.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Okay.
And I don't mean to cut you off. You mentioned this new SpaceX light. Is there anything else that's new at the show that we need to mention?
Well, it's the Creamsource Micro Color, which we haven't showed here at NAB before. So, yeah, that's brand new for this show.
And that's what?
That's the same as the Creamsource Micro we showed last year, but it has it's an 80 watt water resistant IP65 fixture. You can run it from batteries. It's obviously usable for outside broadcast, but we're also seeing a lot of use for it in the film end of things, and also people doing music videos and places where they want a little bit of color, but ultimately quite a lot of punch, because it's more punchy than the sort of the general softer lights in the market.
Very cool stuff. And are all these shipping now, or when does SpaceX ship?
SpaceX will probably start shipping in about 2 months.
And have you announced pricing?
Yeah, list for $6,500 US.
$6,500 US. For people that need more information about Creamsource products, where can they go on the web?
You can go to www.creamsource.com.
That's all one word, Cream, C-R-E-A-M, source, creamsource.com. And Tama Berkeljon is the CEO of Creamsource, a manufacturer of some very lovely LED lights. Tama, thanks so much for joining us. Have yourself a great show and a wonderful product launch.
Thank you so much, Larry.
Every year at the NAB Show, you'll find more than a few attendees camping out at the Maxon Cinema 4D booth all day. Why? Because Maxon hosts presentations by the most respected 3D artists in visual effects, motion graphics, and design. This year, there will be 28 unique presentations from 21 different artists. Even if you're not attending NAB, you can watch all the Cinema 4D presentations streaming live at c4dlive.com. And if you register, you'll be entered into a raffle to win from over $20,000 in prizes. Can't watch live? No worries. All presentations will be made available on demand on the Maxon YouTube channel a few weeks after the show. Maxon Cinema 4D. Stop by Maxon's booth at NAB in South Lower 6324 or tune in to the live stream at c4dlive.com. That's C, the number 4, D, live.com.
From lighting, we turn our attention to something totally different. We're not only looking at cameras, we're looking at 360-degree cameras. And we're looking at something which is almost holographic. His name is Michael Shabun. He's the marketing director for Insta3D. Michael, thanks for joining us today.
Happy to be here.
Tell us what Insta360 is.
Insta360 is the leading manufacturer of 360-degree cameras, from small action cameras to larger, more professional systems that record up to 8K and 11K in 3D.
Now, why do you say you're the leading manufacturer? I would say other 360 camera would say the same thing.
It purely by our sales volume and our market saturation. We're in over 150 countries around the world. And what makes us unique is we are the company that's democratizing 360, meaning price point, ease of use, and power. The combination of those three is making it a truly ubiquitous product that everybody can use.
So what would be applications for your cameras?
We run the gamut, so anywhere from live broadcasting and doing multicam solutions with 180 degrees and 360 degrees, all the way through to action sports, and just using it as a consumer-friendly camera.
Well, you have brought a couple props, so let us describe in words what these props are, because one of them looks like a rocket and one of them looks like a cane. So what do we got here?
These two products are essentially the culmination of a series of technologies that we've built over the last 4.5 years. Our company is still relatively new. One camera that you're looking at is our bread and butter. It's called the Insta360 1X.
The 1X.
What makes this camera super unique is that it's not positioned as a...
Super unique. Not just unique, but super unique.
It's incredible because... you're looking at this camera and you're saying, okay, there's one lens on one side and one lens on the other side. This is a 360 camera, but we don't call it a 360 camera. We call it an action camera that just happens to shoot in 360, because it's all about taking the 360 imagery and pulling the best 2D frames out of it. So what that means for video creators, you don't need huge crews to pull off advanced cinematic shots. You can reframe all of your 360 content in post.
Okay, I'm not totally sure I'm following, so try that one more time. You're taking a 360 shot, but you're turning it into a 2D piece of video?
Exactly. So we're using the 360 to create pan shots, dolly shots, tracking shots, traditional cinematic shots, but that you normally wouldn't be able to get without tons of equipment doing that for you. So if you wanted to do a pan shot, you need like a gimbal head, or you need a dolly, or you need some other equipment with your camera.
But because we're looking at it from the inside of a sphere, as I'm panning across the sphere, I'm able to move, even though it's a static 360 shot, I'm able to move the camera in 2D space around it.
Exactly. So you're capturing everything around you, and then you're only pulling out the stuff that you care about later.
What resolution are you capturing?
With this tiny little camera that weighs, ounces, you're doing 5.7K video at 30 frames, and then you can shoot high frame rate all the way up to 100 frames per second.
So a 5K image and 100 frames a second?
5.7K 30, 4K 30 and 50, and 3K 100.
Oh my goodness. 3K 100.
Absolutely. So you're able to get true slow motion shots all from this tiny little camera
Now,
that costs $399.
This camera looks like it's a fish, actually, or a torpedo. I haven't decided which. Which part is the camera and which is the stand?
So the camera fits quite nicely into this accessory that looks like an old school Nerf football. This is the actual camera.
Which is about the size of a TV, a small TV remote, an Apple TV remote.
It's tiny, right? It fits in the palm of your hand. Now, this accessory is unique because...
Which is the fish-like thing.
The football fish-like thing. This is the world's first throwable camera.
Why do we want to throw a camera? I have enough trouble getting a steady shot as it is.
This essentially replaces the need for a cable cam, a drone. You're getting shots that never before were possible, even with traditional film equipment.
And because this container is rubber, when it lands, the camera tends not to shatter.
Exactly. And in response to your question, why not?
So what else have you got that's new at the show for us?
Well, the other camera that you're looking at here is called the Insta360 Evo. The Evo is a similar size as the 1X, except it shoots 180 degrees 3D. And 3D, as everyone knows, is a growing trend in the industry right now. Everybody wants to start shooting 3D. But 3D in the past was only possible with these giant clunky rigs that most people didn't either have the budget for or didn't know how to operate. Putting it inside of a consumer product makes it accessible for everybody. And then we pair it with this phone case that's on my phone right now. It's a lenticular case, and it allows you to turn your 3D photos and videos into holographic images.
So it's the case that's allowing it to look like it's 3D.
Absolutely. And so basically what's really cool about this case is you can wear it as a normal phone case as a protector, and then you can take it off, flip it around, and the back of the case is actually the lenticular display. And you put it over the front display of your iPhone.
And you're looking at 3D on an iPhone.
You're looking not just at 3D, but at holographic projections. so let me take it one step further for you.
Okay, take it one step further.
So the market for 180 3D is still quite untested. So when a consumer decides, do I want to buy this camera just for the 3D, it's a hard choice for them. So what we've done is we've actually made this a convertible camera. So it flips and becomes a 360 camera. So you can shoot both 180 and 360.
The camera itself is maybe a square that's 1.5 inches on all sides, and the camera's on opposite sides. Or when you open it back up so it's flat, you're seeing two cameras looking at you to give you the 3D, and it shoots 180-degree field of view.
At 5.7K.
What's our pricing?
So the pricing on the 1X, it starts at $399 US. And the Evo is a similar price, and it comes with bundles and kits that average about $439.
And both are released?
Both are available now for purchase and are in market, yes.
And I don't mean to short circuit you. Are there any other new announcements you've got for the show besides these two?
We have a couple of announcements on our ultra high-end solution offering. So we announced about a year ago a camera called Titan. Titan is a spherical camera. It's a ball-shaped camera. It's about 10 to 12 inches in diameter. It has 8 micro four thirds cameras around it that each shoot 5K resolution. Together, they can produce an 11K stereoscopic image.
11K, wow. For people who want more information about the products that Insta360 makes available, where can they go on the web?
You can go to www.insta360.com or follow us on social at Insta360.
Some of these products, they're small, they're well designed, they're amazing, and I wish I understood more of what they do, but I have got to play with them. They are very cool. Michael Shabun is the marketing director for Insta360. Michael, thanks for sharing your time, and especially for bringing the cameras.
Thank you very much.
Have yourself a great show.
You too.
And now a name that doesn't really need an introduction if you've been paying attention to our industry at all. Jeffrey Stansfield is the CEO and founder of Advantage Video Systems and seems to be the most tuned-in person I know that's covering the show. Jeffrey, thanks. You are dressed to the nines, man.
I am, Larry. I got this friend of mine in Italy who I did a TV station for, and he sends me these wonderful Italian suits.
My goodness, can you turn the glitter down? Does that thing plug in at night? Gracious. How you been?
I've been really good. Business has been phenomenal. We've been growing, building a lot of video podcasting studios and growing in that aspect. And then, we've been doing a lot in asset management, archiving, stuff like that. So
asset management using what software?
Well, we just did a big install with CBS Interactive with CatDV and Zen Data and a couple other sources, some storage from Promise Storage, and so we developed that whole thing for them. We've been doing a lot with some NAS. The LumaForge has been a good seller for us, and it's doing some work on that. So
very cool. What have you seen at the show that you like?
There's so much to see. The buzz is, 8K is a big buzz at the show.
8K is just stupid, but don't quote me on that.
No, I know if you talk to Michael Cioni, Bill, 8K is the most is where it has to be at. I agree with you. The human eye can't really see more than that. In archiving for 8K has an option, but I'm with you. I'm the human eye cannot see more than 4K, so it's that's where I'm at.
Besides 8K, which clearly we've been talking about a number of interviews in the show, what else caught your attention?
Well,
and I know it's the first day, but what's
your last guest with the 360? There's a lot of 360 stuff that's being done at the show. We've been seeing a lot of that announcements. There's also a lot for live streaming. Live streaming has played up this year over last year. There was a lot last year, but with Akamai Solutions right next to you here, and some of the new stuff that Data Video is doing, some of the stuff that Blackmagic is doing, some of the new technologies. Broadcast Pix is a remarkable company that we've been working with. We just put a big install at Dominguez Hills College with the Broadcast Pix people, and their stuff is phenomenal. Very low cost price with high performance. So it's been So live streaming is, almost every booth has some play in the live streaming environment.
That's pretty amazing when you think about how quickly that's taken off.
It is, and there's so much. It's so easy to get it into that, and there's so much money to be made, and if you do it right and brand yourself and get out of YouTube. I tell people my big thing is get out of YouTube, because when you have a YouTube channel, you work for YouTube. That's why they call it a YouTube channel. So develop your own channel, develop your own brand, and I'm actually working on a talk with Philip Hodgetts on how to brand yourself, how to have media people, how to brand themselves, because I think that's one of the things that editors and cinematographers, they know how to work the cameras and work the editorial, but they don't know how to brand themselves, and that's one thing we're working on together.
I think that's a very smart thing, because as we continue to shift into a gig economy, the ability to make sure people understand who you are and what makes you different from the competition is critical.
Absolutely. You look back to the old Apple Think Different photos and how Steve Jobs took those major big brands like John Lennon and Albert Einstein and all these great people that people identify with, and then popped the Apple logo on, so people identified now with their heroes with Apple, and that kind of thing. How you brand yourself is very important.
Well, I don't mean to short circuit you. Has Advantage announced anything at the show that we need to pay attention to, aside from the fact that you're continuing to grow?
Well, we're doing a lot of things. We've also started a new thing where we're actually starting our own broadcast channel. We have a thing called iLaunch TV. We are on Apple TV, on Roku, Amazon Fire Stick. We're also on DirecTV, Comcast, and Dish Network. We're in 30 cities, broadcasting in local televisions. We're on cruise ships. We're in almost 300 hotels now. We're in 160 countries on CDN networks. So we're a huge, major brand, helping people broadcast out and create their own shows or own channels, and really help creating that. So that's something we're doing. My integration business, we're becoming one of the leaders in the integration business. And I think it's because I'm, not to toot my own horn, tuning my own horn. But because I'm one of the industry leaders, I was a board. I've been a board member of SMPTE and HPA and other organizations, AES, and also being the standards boards and being involved in all that kind of stuff. And being a leader in the industry helps push me to become a leader in my business.
Which I think is important, because not only have you developed a corporate brand, but you've also developed a personal brand, and people know that Jeff Stansfield stands for something, which is important.
Absolutely.
So what else should we pay attention to at the show as people are walking around and seeing NAB? It's getting bigger and bigger every year.
It is. I mean, the amount of stuff that's being done with the render farms, with NVIDIA and AMD and some of the stuff that they're doing. Sonnet right in front of us has an incredible platform they're doing. Magma as well has these expansion chassis that we've been doing. We've been doing a lot of render farms. We built 23 render farms in 1RU chassis using the Supermicro boxes and putting 4 or 5 high-end render farm cards in these things and creating these huge, big, giant render farms. And so we've been seeing that go. A lot of VFX houses opening up and wanting to create their own little in-house. And the difference between rendering in the cloud opposed to rendering in-house, it's actually rendering in-house is actually more powerful and faster than doing it in cloud, because you're not sending your data anywhere. So we've seen a lot of people wanting to build those in-house, and that's also the big battle here is cloud versus in-house. And there's editorial like Bebop and Azure and all these different companies, editorial in the cloud, and what that does and how that plays out, opposed to still editing in-house and having an editing bay at your facility, having storage at your facility opposed to in cloud. And that's an argument that's going to continue on as it grows. Right now, I think it's still in its infancy. As it grows and the internet grows, we have major problems with our infrastructure as far as the bandwidth of internet in the United States. So I don't see it being a big play right now. I think there's a place for this, and in some companies can be better, but in a lot of places I think the industry still needs a lot of growth in order for that to really be a positive play. Not saying that I make my money by putting edit bays in facilities, but there are definitely reasons for going into the cloud, but I think that's also another big argument that's being made all around the show is, should I go the cloud or should I go in-house?
And there's also the bridge, which is the private cloud.
Right.
Which is cloud technology, but more under your control, which is also something that we've been hearing about today.
Yeah, I mean, cloud technology, is out there, and cloud and small clouds and big clouds, and these different structures are important. The difference is if you're paying in cloud, you're paying a lot of money, like you're renting a house, and at the end of the day, you don't have anything for it. If you're in-house, yeah, it's in yours, so you pay once.
Jeff, for people who want to keep track of what you guys are doing, where can they go on the web?
So you can go to AdvantageVideoSystems.com for that. If you're at the show and you want to find out all the things of the show, go to NABExposition.com for that. But definitely go to AdvantageVideoSystems.com for everything we do.
That's all one word, Advantage Video Systems. And Jeff Stansfield is the CEO and founder. Jeff, have yourself a great show, and thank you so much.
Thanks, Larry.
I want to introduce you to Simply Workspace. Powered by StoreNext 6, this new storage technology is the answer to how smaller post and in-house creatives can work simultaneously on high-resolution content without the hassle of big facility infrastructure. All your content is stored in one place. There's no moving and no copying files. Just plug in your Macs, PCs, or Linux workstations using a Thunderbolt cable and get to work. Simply Workspace is a professional-grade storage network. Starting at $10,995 for a 24-terabyte RAID system supporting 4 simultaneous Mac users. You can grow capacity and users as you need, up to 288 terabytes and 8 simultaneous users. No rack storage, no fiber channel, just the speed and ease you need. It's called Simply Workspace. That's SYMPLY, Simply Workspace. Learn more at gosimply.com. Hi, this is Larry Jordan. Thank you for listening to our coverage of the 2019 NAB Show. Now, I want to invite you to continue listening to the digital production buzz after NAB ends. For almost 20 years, The Buzz has covered the media industry for creative storytellers. We look at new technology, new techniques, and the people who turned them into programs. From production to post to marketing and distribution, we focus every show every week on helping you grow your creative business. We webcast a new show live every Thursday evening at 6 p.m. Los Angeles time. Then make it available for download on iTunes, Spotify, Libsyn, and thedigitalproductionbuzz.com. Join the Buzz family and discover what the future of media holds while you still have time to plan for it. I look forward to chatting with you each week. And welcome back. We're at the 2019 NAB Show, and I feel like I should say, and now it's time for our weekly doddleNEWS update, except it's a daily update, and we're not sure it's an update, it just may be a news report. Either way, James DeRuvo is the editor-in-chief of doddleNEWS, and James, good to have you come back and see you face-to-face this time.
It's good to be back.
So what have you seen at the show? What do we need to pay attention to?
Well, I've been wondering on, before I get to what I've seen, I want to point out what isn't here.
What isn't here?
What isn't here? DJI isn't here.
Really?
Yeah, they have no booth here whatsoever, no presence. GoPro isn't here for the second straight year. And remember when virtual reality and augmented reality was going to be like really super big? I've only seen one place so far, and that was just a part of a small booth in AMD. I haven't seen any VR at all.
Wow.
So it's really interesting what isn't here.
No drones, and drones were hot 3 years ago.
Hot 3 years ago, and they're gone. I haven't seen a single drone.
And VR
Saw
was...
a helicopter, but I haven't seen a single drone.
VR was screaming hot. I mean, we had a guest earlier this show, which is Instant 360, which is a VR camera, essentially, but it can be used for other things in addition to VR.
I really think that the 180 2D Punch-Out, which is something that was created by GoPro's Fusion 360, is pretty much going to save 360 video. I really don't see a market for it. It's just a kitschy thing for me. But to be able to slide through any part of that 360-degree sphere and grab a 1080 or a 4K image in 2D, that's a fantastic tool. And so I think that's really the killer application for 360.
Because you can do pans with something that wasn't panning.
Exactly.
That's very cool.
So some of the things I saw, I was at the morning Blackmagic press conference.
They have your own reserved chair.
They have my own reserved chair, and then I get my interview with Dan May, president of Blackmagic, right after. And the big deal was all the new stuff with DaVinci Resolve 16, which includes this new cut page, which enables you to use artificial intelligence and create an assembly edit of your videos in literally seconds. It's amazing. It has this super smart artificial intelligence, which is able to, it somehow knows where you want to insert your footage, so you don't even have to tell it where. You don't have to move the edit point, and you just set the in point and the out point, and it syncs up the time code as long as everything's all time coded, and it just pops it right in. It's like really fantastic. and they've got some really great new organizational tools which uses facial recognition, so it will organize all your video clips according to character based upon the facial recognition of it. So, and every time you get new footage in, it analyzes it and pops them all into place. And the other thing that they announced was very similar to Adobe's Content Aware Fill, in that they're able to automatically mask something, an unwanted element out of your scene, and then the artificial intelligence will populate all the pixels to make it look like it's no longer there. So DaVinci Resolve 16 is really going to be great. They also announced a camera battery pack for the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. So now you can get up to 2 hours worth of video before you have to swap out. It uses Sony MP4 batteries, And so that was really cool. Big news out of Filmic Pro. Filmic Pro is announcing this week a new Filmic audio recording app, field recording app. So that's going to work. So you get a secondary iOS device. You use that as your audio recorder, and you can record it, and then it automatically syncs into Filmic Pro on your other mobile device.
Oh, my goodness.
And so that looks really exciting, and it has 32-bit floating point audio recording, supports WAV, AAC, all the basic standards, and has manual input, gain control, support for additional external microphones. But the killer feature is the audio sync to Filmic Pro, which automatically replaces the audio track in Filmic Pro with the one recorded from your own device. So you can use a second iPhone, that iPhone 7 that's sitting in your desk because you just got the iPhone XS. You can actually use it as a field recorder now. And then it'll automatically wirelessly sync into Filmic Pro, which is like crazy. So I'm really excited about that because I love Filmic Pro. It's really a great great piece of software. And now that they're going into audio, that's a really exciting.
Oh, that's all. And anything that supports audio, I'm in favor of. That's a great idea.
Yeah, it's just. And then finally, Small HD announced a new monitor this week called the 7-inch Cine 7 monitor, which has camera controls. So you can hook this monitor into your Airy or your Red, and it creates this overlay onto the monitor that gives you control of the camera remotely through the monitor, which is really great if you're like doing Steadicam shots and you need to have control of it from another device that you're using the monitor with.
Well, weren't you talking to me about the ability to display grids or camera capture on a small HD that was coming in from another source? You were telling me that in an update a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I may have. I don't remember.
All right. Well,
There's just so much to see here, and we're only in day one.
I know.
Those are the things that jumped out at me.
That is very
today.
cool. What are your plans for tomorrow?
My plans are tomorrow. I'm going to be going to a lot of small booths in the Central Hall. I'm going to go back by Filmic Pro, take a good look there. FX Homes with their hit film, they've got some new integrations that's going on. They're doing partnerships with Filmic Pro. They're doing partnerships with a whole bunch of different people. I'm really looking forward to finding out what they're doing. I went by Pond 5 today. They're doing. They've got this really great exclusivity program for people who want to. Put their stock footage. They want to get into stock footage, and they cover everything from shooting video with smartphones all the way up to shooting video with Red, and they have this exclusive program where you can choose to put your stuff up on Pond 5 and then do the shotgun approach and go somewhere else and do it in like 12 different places if you want, and they'll pay you get 40% of the cut. But if you stay just with Pond 5 and you put your stock footage exclusively there, they have market research that suggests that their customers really like to go to one place. And so if you stick with them and just sign up with this exclusivity program, you'll get 60% of the cut, and you also get to set the price for the footage. They also have a deal going with Red where you can click a button in the search field that says "Shot on Red" and it'll filter out everything except for the Red footage. And they got over 1 million DJI drone clips that you can take advantage of too. Lots to do here.
Oh, well, there's plenty of stuff for you to check out.
Yeah.
And so what we'd like to do is to invite you back tomorrow night, 5 o'clock,
Yep.
and give us a report on what you saw yesterday. What is it? Tomorrow is tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
So
yes.
what you saw tomorrow as opposed to what you saw yesterday.
I'll be here.
And I'd love to hear more.
I will. I'll see you then.
And James DeRuvo is the editor-in-chief of DoddleNEWS. And as always, James, it's wonderful to have you scouting the show for us and getting us your report. Thank you.
You can get us all the write-ups at doddlenews.com.
That'd be the perfect place to go. doddlenews.com. All one word, DoddleNEWS, doddlenews.com. Thank you.
Thank you. See you then.
Take care. I want to thank our guests this week, Tama Berkeljon with Creamsource, Michael Shabun with Insta360, Jeffrey Stansfield with Advantage Video Systems, and James DeRuvo with doddleNEWS. Our senior producer is Debbie Price. Show producer is Paulina Borowski. Transcripts provided by Simon Says. My name is Larry Jordan, and thanks for listening to the Digital Production Buzz at the 2019 NAB Show.
The Digital Production Buzz at NAB was sponsored by Maxon and by Simply, a global distribution brand.
The Digital Production Buzz at NAB is copyright 2019 by Thalo LLC.